Okay, so here we go. Another random record. Okay, let's see what we can get here. Let's go. Let's do this one right here. Randy Newman, 12 songs. This is actually my favorite Randy Newman album. Funny because I pulling that out. A lot of good songs on this album. The most Mama Told Me Not to Come was made famous by Three Dog Nights. That's probably the most popular one on this album. But I like Uncle Bob's Midnight Blues. That is definitely my favorite. Old Kentucky Home, Yellow Man, Lover's Prayer. Those are some of my favorites as well. But I like all the songs on this album. Here's some of the session players. Ry Cooder, you might recognize him. He actually did some various stuff with Randy Newman, but Jim Gordon, he played with Derek and the Dominoes. Eric Clapton. I'm not really familiar with a lot of Clarence White. I'm pretty sure I've heard of, but I'm not too sure some of these musicians. I'm sure I've seen a lot of them. I believe Gene Parsons, but so here's some of the credits. I always like the cover of this as well. Just a great record. It is more of a. It's more of It's less produced than, I believe. What year is this? Yeah, it's less produced than his first album. It's basically just like, mostly like the core of a band, rather than his first record was very produced. Not that I have an issue with that. I like it a lot. Van Dyke Parks actually worked on that. I've talked about him before. Plus, he's worked with Brian Wilson. So, but this album kind of gets down to the core of Randy Newman's piano playing. So, 12 songs by Randy Newman. Like, it is the second album. Like I said, the first album was very highly produced, a lot of strings and big arrangements like Van Dyke Parks. Great album. Some people don't really like it. They think it's kind of overproduced. So this album is definitely more, like I said, goes to kind of the root of, kind of the, piano, bass, and drums, even though there's some other things on it, but it gets to the core of it, and then you can really, hear Randy Newman's playing and everything. It was released in April 1970 on Reprise Records. Have You Seen My Baby was the only single. I'm not sure why, because there's definitely a lot of other songs on this album that I think could be pretty good singles, but that was the only one that was released. I mentioned Gene Parsons. I wasn't quite sure if it was the same Gene Parsons I know, but apparently what I'm finding here is that it is the same Gene Parsons who worked with the Byrds and the Flying Burrito Brothers. Apparently he played drums, banjo, guitar, engineering. From what I'm finding, it was the same Gene Parsons, which I did not know that. Pretty cool, interesting fact. Look up Gene Parsons. He did a lot of cool stuff. So I'm trying to find something here. I thought I read something about Harry Nilsson. The Harry Nilsson Sings Newman, Nilsson Sings Newman album being released before this album, and that was kind of partially what kind of inspired, I guess, to do a more, bare bones sort of album. I'm trying to look it up now. I know it's great in the middle of this video and looking it up. That album was released in February, and Randy Newman's was released in April, so I'm pretty sure that is, but I'm not finding really much.
Anyways, yeah.
I'm going to cut it there. I do want to talk in depth more about a lot of Randy Newman's music So I'm not gonna really go. I don't really want to go too much more into detail. Just kind of like a little brief overview. I do kind of want to do like a little documentary series on Randy Newman and his albums, and kind of find out, as much detail I can put in there so I can share that with people. So that will probably be one of my influence videos. Like I said, I'm going to be doing it on Brian Wilson. Randy Newman's definitely in my top 5, top 10 of doing those. Harry Nilsson will probably get one. He's not quite up on my list of videos to do, but he's definitely a big influence. So Brian Wilson, Randy Newman, Van Dyke Parks, they'll be ones you'll be seeing, in my top 5, top 10 coming up. So I will probably be going into a lot more detail on those videos. If not, I will definitely find a way, because it's something that's been on my bucket list to do. So stay tuned for more updates on that. I'll probably be doing some Randy Newman covers as well. So if you're watching this and you're a Randy Newman fan, make sure you keep up to date on what all I'm doing. Definitely a lot of Randy Newman influences in my music. A lot of the kind of satire, humor, whatever you want to call it, in the lyrics. A couple songs that definitely I feel like sound like Randy Newman-ish. You might not think, but when I play them, I kind of picture it. Song in the Key of 4/4 is definitely one of those songs. I actually mentioned Randy Newman in that song. And then Pick Up This Lonely Heart and Dance. I tried to do a lot of the piano kind of playing that I think he would be doing in that song. Not what he would do, but I kind of felt like the piano playing I'd do is something that I would hear somewhat in his song. So those are definitely 2 songs, Randy Newman influenced. So check out for more of those on my album. Yeah. That is the random record for today. Randy Newman, 12 songs. Okay, moving right along. It is time for what is on my record player. Let's take a look. And what do we have there? Gets us a little hard to see. So, it's actually Songs for Beginners by Graham Nash. This is my favorite Graham Nash record. You might know him from the Hollies, or Crosby, Stills and Nash, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And there's the back. This is another record store buy. I was extremely happy when I saw they had this. I did not expect it. I have this thing when I buy records that I really just kind of like finding records in stores. I don't really like buying them online. Sometimes I will, but usually I just try and find records in person. So Recordsmith is definitely a place to go. Here's some songs on the back. Military Madness, Better Days, Simple Man, Chicago, We Could Change the World. This is another album just full of all great songs. Those I just named off were definitely some of my more favorites on this album, but this is a great album. I definitely recommend checking it out. So Songs for Beginners is Graham Nash's debut solo album in May 1971. It was released just after Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young's Deja Vu. Actually, each one of the members of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young released 4 well-known solo albums. The album charted in the top 20, and the single Chicago made the top 40, coming in the 35. The record's been certified gold. I'm reading here about it some as I'm talking about it, but there was a lot of well-known session players: David Crosby, Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, Phil Lesh, not really 100% familiar with him, David Mason, he was with Traffic. Here's the song Feeling Alright. Joe Cocker did that. It's one of my favorite songs with Joe Cocker, really good version. David Lindley, not really familiar with him, and Rita Coolidge. She actually played in the Joe Cocker Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I think I'm saying that right. Which that I'm Alright song was featured on. And then Neil Young. Apparently he used a different name. He called himself Joe Yankee. Interesting. Graham Nash had actually been dating Joni Mitchell. I'm sure you're familiar with some of her stuff. They had just broken up. This album followed that breakup. And I guess many of the songs on the album actually are about their time together. Usual with a lot of, Crosby, Stills and Nash. There's a lot of political stuff, like the song Chicago had to do with the 1968 Democrat National Convention and the infamous trial of the Chicago 8. I guess Nash was pretty outraged with the proceedings of that trial. The album was released May 28, 1971 on Atlantic Records. Bobby Keys was on sax. He played with the Rolling Stones, Harry Nilsson, George Harrison, John Lennon, Delaney and Bonnie, Leonard Skinner. I believe he was also in the Mad Dogs and Englishmen Joe Cocker tour, which I'm pretty sure is where I recognize him the most from. I'll have to talk about that album more sometime because it's definitely one of my favorite albums. Yeah. So it looks like the only person from Crosby, Stills and Nash was mostly everyone was there except for Stephen Stills. How do you say his name? Yes, he was the only one from the band that looks like did not participate. I'm not quite sure. It's not really finding much on it, but yeah, great album. I'll put a link below to check that out. And that's it for that. And that's what's on my record player today. So here's actually the inner sleeve where the record goes. You got who played what on the songs. You've got the engineer and where it was recorded. A lot of this stuff is very familiar stuff if you're familiar with the kind of California music scene. The back has all the lyrics to the songs on it. So there's a Simple Man. There's Better Days. Military Madness. So yeah, great record. I would definitely recommend checking it out. I will put a link in the description for this, as well as the Randy Newman song from my random record. And next I'll be doing a section on my memorabilia box. Okay, so here we are going to do another episode of The Box. I don't know what to really title it, but that's what I'm calling it for now. But I've got some extra goodies to put in today, so let's move this stuff out of the way. You see up here I'm trying to organize and keep track of topics for the vlog. So here it is, the box. And as from last time, you can see I have the Earth Day poster I did. So let's see what we're going to put in there today. So I actually was going through different boxes of stuff from storage that I have, and I actually found all of this stuff. I'm not going to put it all in today. I will just pick a couple random things. First, we'll start with just what's on top, I guess. So these are actually pictures. Oh, it's a picture of me. I'm assuming that's my birthday cake. That's not really music memorabilia, so I'll set that aside. I have a box of photos, so I'll put that in there. So yeah, these two photos were from my first couple albums that I showed you. I must be coughing there. This was in the woods. So yeah, these two will be going in the box. Alright, so let's see what else we have here. Oh. So, yeah, Indie Records. As you know, I have Watson Rye now.
Hello, Oliver. Oliver's coming to visit. Anyways.
I have Watson Rye now, which is kind of like my record company, production, etc. But back in high school, I actually started trying to launch my first record company, which was Indie Records. You can see the home studio advertising here. Record a demo for your band, affordable rate, rental, rent equipment for your next gig, promotion, get promoted on MySpace and any indie record related events. Lessons, beginner lessons on piano, guitar, bass, and drums. So, yeah, I never really got this off the ground. There was one or two bands that I was actually going to work with besides myself. You can see this is back in the day of MySpace. But yeah, this never really kind of took off as much as I'd like, but I've always kind of, had the ambition of doing kind of like my own record label and, these different things. So yes, this will go in the box. At the bottom I did have little cutout things you can see there with my name and phone number, so you could put them up. Let's pick one more thing here. I'm gonna pick this one because this is pretty cool. This is a band that I had based off the Syd Barrett album, The Madcaps Laugh. I actually found out that there were other bands named The Madcaps, so we did change it, but I did this by hand. This is probably one of my favorite, and it's a very psychedelic, album, gig poster. But you can see, like, up here was Richard, he played the keys, myself, and James, who played the drums. Not the same James that's in the band now. I really like the eyeballs, drawing eyeballs a lot back then. I believe this is the original. This wasn't the copy. I did not date it, but I would probably assume this was probably like 2006, something in that area. What else is on here? Yeah, the Madcaps. Yeah, it says our names. And I drew myself with the plaid shirt. Who played what. And then the shows we had. I don't think we ever played all these shows together. I believe James, who played drums, and myself were the only ones that did some of these. And I guess a lot of them were just probably me, though. I'm pretty sure we did this one here. This one, there was a blizzard or something, so that got canceled. The other Crimson, I did that. I think these might have been open mics, but one of these was a show. I can't remember which one was a show. The Allen Theater, that one got canceled for some reason. I don't remember. The Factory also got canceled. I think there were supposed to be more bands booked with us, and they couldn't organize the event, so that got canceled. I don't remember what happened to the Allen Theater. I guess that was a coffee house. Probably just never made it because it was so far away, and being only like 16 or 17, getting a ride. Youth Art Day, I did do that one. I might have done that one solo though. So yeah, more states to be added, which never really happened. So yeah, that's that. Pretty cool poster, like I said, and that'll be my last going in the box for today. So yes, there it is. We put a cap on that, and that's a couple more things for the box. Alright, so that's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good day.